In this video, I am going to tell you about the movie Friends with Benefits. Spoiler alert. Dylan Harper is an art director for a tiny online business in Los Angeles, and Jamie Rylis is an executive recruiter for a top New York City employment firm. They both want to be emotionally unavailable and are tired of the Hollywood cliché of perfect love after their recent breakup. Jamie's mission is to try to get Dylan to come to New York City to work as an intern for GQ magazine. After applying for the job, Dylan arrives in New York and finds out via Jamie that he has been extended an offer to work for GQ. Dylan is initially apprehensive about accepting the position and moving from his Los Angeles home to New York. But Jamie spends the evening showing Dylan around the city in an attempt to persuade him of the opportunity and the city. Dylan accepts the position after they had a good time seeing the city, including stopping a flash mob in Times Square to dance to a hit song. The next day, Jamie gives Dylan the contract to sign in order for her to get paid for bringing him on board. Having no acquaintances in the city, he and Jamie swiftly become friends. They discuss love and sex one evening while watching a romantic comedy at Jamie's flat. They conclude that there shouldn't be as strong of an emotional tie to sex. They both agree to have sex without feeling any emotion or commitment because they both sense the desire for a physical connection. Jamie realizes after a few sex-related trysts that this isn't truly what she wants and tells Dylan that they must end their relationship. Jamie meets Parker a few days later, and the two start dating. They get engaged after 5 dates, but the next morning, Parker tells Jamie he wasn't really searching for anything more. Jamie yells at Parker, vowing that their relationship would end. In an attempt to show empathy and ease Jamie's grief, Dylan recommends that she accompany him to California for the July 4th weekend, while he spends time with his family. Jamie is quite apprehensive, but Dylan persists until he accepts. After taking a plane to California, Jamie sees his father, Richard Jenkins, and elder sister, Annie. They share a passionate kiss and develop strong emotional feelings for one another while in California. This leads to a night of intense intimacy beyond anything they have ever experienced. But the next day, Jamie overhears a conversation in which Dylan admits he doesn't really feel anything for Annie. She is hurt and takes a lone flight back to New York. A few days later, Dylan goes back to New York in an attempt to make up with Jamie and discover the reason for her lack of interest in him. When he eventually locates Jamie, she tells him she heard all he said and is not interested in keeping a connection with him. Jamie finds out shortly after that Dylan could be leaving GQ to take a different job, which would have an impact on her commission. She confronts Dylan about it, and they get into another heated confrontation. In an effort to reconcile their feelings over their relationship, they both start to engage in some introspection. While Dylan talks on the phone with his sister, Jamie spends time with her mother, Patricia Clarkson. His sister calls to let him know that their father, who has Alzheimer's disease but is still in the early stages, is scheduled to go to New York and needs to be picked up at the airport. In a period of Alzheimer's-related disorientation, the father misidentifies a stranger as a woman from his past while they are dining at the airport. When Dylan questions him about this lady, his father, who had just regained consciousness, replies that she was a woman he met in the Navy, the love of his life, and he regrets the choices he made when he was younger to let her go. After discussing his feelings with his buddy and co-worker Tommy, Dylan resolves to pursue Jamie after realizing how he feels about her. In order to convince Jamie to travel to Grand Central Station under the impression that she would be picking up her mother, he phones Jamie's mother to build up an excuse. He then sets up another flash mob event to surprise Jamie at Grand Central. He finally catches up with Jamie and expresses his true feelings to her. This unexpected change of events surprises and pleases Jamie, who tells him to kiss her. Dylan says it's time for them to go on their first proper date after they've had a kiss. They proceed to the cafe across the street, and even though they try to keep the date lighthearted and carefree, the movie closes with them sharing a passionate kiss and sensuous embrace.